Here is the answer to the question above my head, and let me know what you think in the comments and who you prefer. Now, Quentin Tarantino is the filmmaker, alongside Martin Scorsese, who got me into film. He is maybe my favorite filmmaker ever, despite me not thinking he's the greatest filmmaker of all time. I think he has made the greatest film of all time in Pulp Fiction. That is the big bang of film for me. But I think the answer to this question is rather clear, especially if you watch film and you are heavily familiar with both of these guys' filmographies. Now, both of these dudes are hallmarks and pillars to cinematic history. Without these two, you really can't talk about cinema in the same way. I think they are both insanely influential and they have some of the greatest films of all time. So, both of these dudes are great and both of these dudes are masterful filmmakers. And without them, who knows where film would be at. But despite me thinking Quentin Tarantino has the greater film out of the two in Pulp Fiction, I think it's pretty evident that Paul Thomas Anderson is the better filmmaker and has the greater filmography. Do I really have to talk about Paul Thomas Anderson's filmography? Punch Drunk Love, masterpiece in my opinion. There Will Be Blood, masterpiece in my opinion. The Master, a masterpiece in my opinion. Boogie Nights, a masterpiece in my opinion. One Battle After Another, a masterpiece. Phantom Thread, a masterpiece. Those are about 5 to 6 masterpieces. And listen, I love Quentin Tarantino. He is a fucking amazing filmmaker, and he might even be on my Mount Rushmore, but it is quite clear that Paul Thomas Anderson is the better filmmaker. He has done so many different things in his career of filmmaking, and like this is the same guy who made Boogie Nights. He made The Master, and then he made fucking There Will Be Blood, and then he made Phantom Thread, and then he made Punch Drunk Love. Those are all uniquely and refreshing different films, not only to the world of cinema, but to his filmography. I love Quentin Tarantino, but one of the biggest detriments to his career is that he's never made anything woefully different, in my opinion. The most different he's ever gotten was Inglourious Bastards and Jackie Brown. Everything else feels like it's cut from the same cloth of Pulp Fiction, and it has the same style as Pulp Fiction, which is his greatest film and the greatest film of all time, in my opinion. But as much as I love a lot of his films, Kill Bill is a masterpiece. Pulp Fiction is a masterpiece. Jackie Brown is almost a masterpiece. Inglourious Bastards is a masterpiece. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, a masterpiece. I think Paul Thomas Anderson's filmography is clearly and evidently more different and refreshing each and every installment from Paul Thomas Anderson. And I don't know if I could say the same thing about Quentin Tarantino. I love both of these dudes. They are huge parts of my life. I love the art that they create. But to answer the question, who's the better filmmaker and who has the better filmography, it is Paul Thomas Anderson due to how refreshing and unique every film he makes is. Compared to Quentin Tarantino, who all of his films do feel derived from his previous films, but that is fine because he is a masterful filmmaker. So, yes, Paul Thomas Anderson is the better filmmaker and has the better filmography. I hate to even say it.